Welcome into Everything Auburn, the podcast we get to speak to members of the Auburn family every single month. I'm the chronically underdressed Carter, and thank you for joining me. Today is a special day because we have not one but two members of the Auburn family and also two students here from Auburn. We have Miss Auburn Riley Parman and SGA President Owen Beaverstock. Welcome to the podcast, guys.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to be here.
So you're a seasoned podcast pro.
In a sense. For sure.
Okay, very cryptic.
And I'm a rookie. This is my first time.
All right, so all pressure's on you.
Fresh legs over here.
So we'll let Riley go first. You learn.
Okay, I'll watch and learn.
Watch and learn.
Absolutely.
So one to start, just Miss Auburn. What does it mean? What is Miss Auburn? Tell us all about it. I have never been Miss Auburn, so I don't know much.
Awesome. So yes, Miss Auburn is a tradition that started in 1934, and she is technically the official hostess of Auburn University.
Awesome.
But thankfully, my friend Owen is here, so this example will make sense. When I explained it to my relatives from Kansas City, Missouri, who thought I was strutting around in an evening gown, which is a real position, Miss Auburn University, but it is not my position.
Totally distinct,
yes.
Not similar names at all.
Not similar names at all, one word difference, but who's counting? I explain it as if Auburn were England.
Okay.
Owen would be the prime minister, and I would be serving as the Queen of England. So Owen's going to do more of the policy related things on campus.
That's a great way to put it.
He's going to perhaps sit in more meetings than I am.
How convenient she makes the analogy where she's the queen, right?
I happen to be the Queen of England.
England.
But then I do more things that is influencing the culture of the student body. So that can be through things like appearances, that can be through initiatives. We do Empower Her, which is a women's leadership dinner, and then each Miss Auburn has a platform that they also carry out throughout their term, but they're also the face of Auburn to the community. So I'll do things like Read to Kids in Schools, which I'm doing on Wednesday, podcasts, engaging with community members and civic leaders, things like that. So my days are very, very different because the role can be pretty much whatever the current person in office says they want it to be, but it's a blast.
Awesome. Wonderful. And then Mr. Prime Minister Owen, walk me through your life.
My side of it. Absolutely. So the SGA president, or the equivalent for our student body president, is something that's elected by the student body every February. And the best way to describe it, I would say, is the advocate for students within all decisions that are made within our administration at Auburn and within every department of our administration. You go and serve within those meetings as the student representation and the student voice. And also, I think one of the incredible privileges of this position at Auburn that's very unique to Auburn compared to some of our peers is that the SGA president is a non-voting member of our board of trustees for a year.
Really?
And absolutely.
Wow.
Which is an incredible opportunity to get to sit with the board and talk to them. That was actually one thing I got to do over the summer was travel and meet with them one-on-one and just talk to them about the student experience, what's going on with students. But that is a great way to describe it though, Riley, of you are the advocate and just going into meetings and representing students and the student experience.
Wonderful. Well, so it's a natural progression here. Why did you, you can rock, paper, scissors on who goes first, which is my favorite way to determine it. But why did you want to run for your respective, queen, prime minister positions, what you will be called for?
Do you actually want to do rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah, we can do rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, this is great. Oh, my gosh. There he is.
Okay, I'll go first.
There you go, you got it.
It's the first time
You've won and then chose.
I've said that so many times with this, and no one has actually ever done it before.
No, we'll take you up on it.
We're ready to go. So like Owen said, both of our positions are elected in February, but Miss Auburn's a little bit unique in that you don't choose to run, you're nominated to run. So I was nominated by my sorority, and then every organization on campus has the opportunity to nominate one woman. And then it goes through a 2-round interview process, and then you run an all-student body campaign, which takes place in February, but you start preparing for that in November. And for me, I'm a first-generation Auburn student from Kansas City, Missouri, and I did not know what Miss Auburn was when I came to college.
How could you?
Right. So for me, it was less of a decision to run and more of after I was nominated, I was like, wow, this is a great opportunity to gain interview experience. If I was given the opportunity to run a campaign, that would be such a unique opportunity to love the Auburn student body well in the way that I choose to engage with people during a week where I'll talk to more students than I'll ever have the opportunity to as just an independent individual. And it was less of I don't think I started thinking about what it would be like to be in the role until after I was elected. Because it was just what is in front of me? If the interview was in front of me, okay, even if I don't get to top 5, what can I bring to the important people who will be interviewing me that will benefit them after the fact? During the campaign, how can I benefit the student body through the mechanism of the campaign? And then after I was elected, it was
How endearing.
How would I like to serve
I
in this
actually have to- I
capacity?
should do this
I have
now.
to do this now. What is that going to look like? So it's just interesting, and I think that's kind of the nature of a nominated role.
That makes sense.
I think the unique thing about this position is that you choose to run for it. So it is a little bit different than Miss Auburn. And I think my biggest thing in my story of how I got to this point starts when I was a freshman. And I did SGA in high school and really enjoyed it, but I wasn't really set on getting plugged into it coming into college. I didn't think that was going to be my path. And then I actually had some older guys that were around me my freshman year. They got me plugged in, encouraged me to get plugged in with SGA, and I did. And it really was just kind of my fun outlet for the first two years of college. Was just my community that I enjoyed getting to see. It was kind of my thing on the side that I just loved doing, and I was passionate about what I was doing. And then it really got real going into the end of my sophomore year when some of my friends were just kind of encouraging me and made me just think about what it would look like to run for a position like this. And it honestly really opened my eyes to it because I wasn't really thinking about it. And I feel like with these kind of positions, you never seek it out in the sense of you think that you could do it because it's almost like an imposter syndrome at first of like, there's no way that I could do something as great as that. Yeah. But
it's a big campus too. It's
absolutely.
like, oh my gosh.
I mean, there's 34,000 students at Auburn. Like that is a huge campus. But then just to see the encouragement from people, and I think that's one of the best things about Auburn and the community that is the Auburn family, is that people can see the best parts of you that you may not see, and they'll build you up and encourage you to see that for yourself as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I got to know because, again, I was a lowly film student, so I don't know what it's like to be important on campus. What are some, favorite moments, anecdotes, stories, weird situations, what have you?
I think you can call it busy. Is the best way to say it, because it's almost like a full-time job in a lot of ways of what we get to do, which is a huge blessing and an awesome opportunity to serve and give back to Auburn because it's given us a ton. Trying to think of what are some funny stories. I've just been you find yourself talking to adults a lot. Like I feel like I've become really good at talking to adults, which is awesome and a really fun thing, but a skill like as a college student in my first 3 years, I didn't think like I would really need to develop at that point.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I think a lot of the cool things that we get to do revolve around my platform, which was encouraging students to leverage the resources that Auburn University offers to pair them with their passions to better serve our campus, our community, and the world. And the way that we chose to execute that passion or that platform was through highlighting student and organizations of the month, which Miss Auburn hasn't historically done, but has been really fun for us to get to start this year. So that means that we get to talk to we try to focus on like smaller organizations who are doing more niche activities to show them as a pathway for other students to get involved in that niche activity that they may care about. And that's put us at like the Auburn Bee Lab. So that was cool.
Dude, I was out there a few weeks ago. That's a very cool
I got
spot.
to hold like a frame of bees. I also went to the fisheries, EW Fisheries and Aquaculture Center. And I talked to so many students who are so passionate about fish. I personally am deeply afraid of touching fish. So when I held a very large catfish, which you can see on our social medias.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done
I was so scared. It was terrifying. But I did conquer my fear. But a sweet story that came from that. Last month, our organization of the month were the AU Singers. And as soon as we like got there, SK and I were meeting them. SK is my director of media, and she's awesome, and she's here in the background.
She's watching over
She's
our
watching
show.
We walked up, and one of the girls was like, "It's so nice to meet you, Riley. Like, you were the first SGA election that I ever voted in, and now it's so cool that like you're highlighting my organization because that's why I voted for you, because I thought that you cared about people like me."
Oh my gosh.
And I was like,
That's
oh
cool.
my gosh. Oh my gosh. And then they sang the alma mater for us, and SK and I both cried. It was beautiful. And that was probably like top 3 moments of my time at Auburn, just because it was like some weeks are, like Owen was saying, so busy and you're running from thing to thing to thing to thing that it doesn't even feel like you have time to remember the stories and the moments from each of those things. And then you'll have like, that was a 35-minute video shoot. And I think about it like every time I walk into doing something like this or interacting with the student, because I was like, okay, this does have weight. It's not just movement.
No, that makes sense. So I'll give you 2 pieces here, which is one, I have a very unique job where I get to do very similar. I kind of go in, do this thing. I'm very invested in it for a couple of weeks. Then I'm out and go into another group.
Yeah.
So I'm getting to see so many different elements, just a taste of campus, which is really, really incredible. And I've had very similar experiences where like, I was only with this person for an hour and like, I think about them all the time, and it just happens so very often. The other thing I was going to give you is I'm not scared of fish. I want to start there.
Yeah,
However, I do have an irrational and pathological fear of frogs.
Really?
So so it's like adjacent to fish. So I get it. So I get it. I don't know why. My dad's terrified of frogs, and I think it just imprinted on me as a child that he's scared of them. So that's something you should be scared of. And now I'm terrified of them. Hate them. Don't like it. So I understand that feeling of it's just slimy things. I don't like the way they jump.
The sudden movements are really hard for me as well. They're very unpredictable.
Yeah. See, mine is bugs. And
I was going to say, what's your biggest?
Mine is bugs and really any like small creature that flies around. And so like if you like when you were at the
bee lab,
we're at the bee lab. When we saw those videos and those pictures, and like you're in the suit, like you're around, I'm
doing the thing. Yeah,
that's where I draw the line.
See, I was chilling at the bee lab. But fisheries, no.
See, I'd love the fisheries. I think
you should go. They would probably love to have you.
It's awesome. It's like that's like one of the cool things.
Go for a swim.
And it's like we talked about it of like the cool part about this and really all of this is that every day you get to find something new about Auburn.
Yeah.
Like you're learning a new thing that you didn't know before, and like these are great examples of things that like just the general student at Auburn isn't aware of, and you get to shine a light and just learn something new and learn how just broad and diverse Auburn as a campus and as a university really is. Yeah. And that's such a special thing.
Yeah. It's something I talk about. I'm sure SK has heard me say it before, which is there's, 30 some odd plus thousand students here, plus 1,000 faculty. Like there's so many interesting stories. You cannot walk into a room and not find an interesting story.
No.
Absolutely.
And this campus is so large, you can walk into so many different places and see things you never even know existed.
100%.
Which is so incredible. So we've heard all about Riley's goals and her aspirations for her platform. Owen, what's kind of direction you're trying to take things? I know you're about halfway through your tenure here as SGA president. So what's kind of the goals, expectations, and what the future will hold?
There's a couple that I'd love to talk about because that's the privilege of getting to be halfway through. We've honestly been able to make a lot of progress with a lot of great things, which is awesome. The first one, I've got three that I really want to talk about.
Bring it on.
The first one is revolves around campus security because I know that we're in a time that's just a lot of uncertainty, and that's a big topic around campus of people just being concerned and wanting to be safe at Auburn. And we're blessed to be on a campus that feels so safe, but what can we do as a university to make sure that we are?
Yeah.
And so at the beginning of our term, one of our big initiatives on our exec goals was revolving around security. And this past week, we were able to work with campus security and get an appeal request funded and approved to secure funding for additional security shuttle drivers. So we're going to have 10 new security shuttle drivers around campus, which is awesome. And then we're also going to have the funding for a 24/7 security presence on campus. So at night right now, there are security specialists that walk around and make sure everything's in order. And now we have the funding to employ them to do that during the day as well.
That's
so that's an amazing thing. And those specialists are going to be able to walk around. That's going to change the feel of campus and to make it feel more safer, but it's also going to allow us to have the certain things that we have already on campus that are making this place safe. Those specialists are going to be able to make sure that those are up to date and being used and enforced, and that's just a great thing for our campus. The next thing, this is one that I'm pretty excited about.
Let's go.
And this has to do with 320 crosswalk over by Chick-fil-A. And if you ask anyone right now, including the city of Auburn, they'd say that's a huge pressure point in regards to our campus, just with student flow from crossing on and off campus and then traffic on Magnolia.
Do students like going to Chick-fil-A?
I think it's a safe bet.
I've heard of this place.
I've heard a couple people say that they enjoy it. But our big thing is right now with the way that traffic is flowing, students can just walk as much as they want. And that's good for a student, but it's also a safety concern because you've got students going whenever they want. And then that also allows drivers to get a little impatient because Magnolia shuts down whenever it's lunchtime or class change. So one thing that we've worked with Auburn University facilities and Auburn, the city on is trying to find a way that we can put a three-stop traffic light up there on 320. So instead of just a continuous crosswalk, you're going to have a three-stop traffic light. And we've secured the funding for that already, and we're in the planning process and hoping to get it in by the spring academic term. This is going to allow students to cross at one moment together so that they're not being inconvenienced, but it's also going to allow traffic to flow in the way that it needs to, just to make Auburn operate in the way that it is, because we all know that traffic is crazy around Auburn.
Oh, yeah.
Last one I want to talk about, my third one. So one of the biggest issues that I heard during my campaign and I've heard from students is just the issue of housing and finding affordable housing around Auburn. That's just it's like in the recent years, just rent prices around Auburn have gone up tremendously. So we've been working with our board of trustees, and this past Friday got the vote passed to Cambridge. So the Cambridge Residence Hall is offline right now, but they're going to rebuild a new structure over there, and it's going to be a 680 bed residence hall opposed to a 340 bed, which is what it was before. So that's going to provide more beds for Auburn students at a much more affordable rate than what the current off-campus market is. So we think that's a huge win for our students, and it's going to provide a lot of great everything.
It's a great spot too,
That's
and you
awesome.
got to see the vote because you were at the board of trustees.
Absolutely.
Look at this. What a full circle.
huge.
Well, some other exciting things that are going on with SGA besides your particular goals, which are truly incredible, is, as y'all have referred to it as, and I'll be using it as forever now, the SGA Super Bowl of Heyday coming up, which is truly one of the best Auburn traditions and events coming up. Walk me through what you're excited about, what makes you the most excited about Heyday, any experiences you had with Heyday.
So this was an event that started after World War II to welcome back our veterans to the Auburn community. And just by bringing them back in and saying hello, it really took off. And now it's a huge Auburn tradition of just welcoming people around campus and in the community. It was the first thing that I got volunteered for within SGA when I was a freshman, was volunteering at Heyday and being at a table just passing out name tags.
Yep.
And it really is, it's an amazing part of campus.
I love Heyday and get so excited about Heyday because I love talking to strangers.
Okay.
And on Heyday, everyone is wearing a name tag. And if they're not wearing a name tag, you have the opportunity to identify something about them, allowing them to then put on a name tag, which to me is just like a lot of fun. Like how often I love volunteering at Heyday because, I mean, everyone's walking by, class change. People are trying to get where they're going. You know, we're very head down, like they're on their way. And Heyday, you get to be like, oh, I love your bag. Do you want a name tag? Like, purple shirt. I love that shirt. Do you want a name tag? Which it's like you're asking them to get a name tag, but you're also like engaging in a real conversation with them, and them approaching the table gives you that touch point to be like, oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. Like, I hope you have an awesome day. I'm rooting for you. Like, go forth and make friends. And it's just, I think it opens up more conversations in class too, because you see people with their name tags on. And I get nervous because I forget people's names pretty often as well. So Heyday also benefits me because if I forgot
having a
maybe
name tag.
the
It's a
name
good
of the
cheat
person
code.
I sit next
It's a
to in
good
class,
for
you can
sure.
see their name tag. But seriously, I do think it really does reinforce a lot of the values of the Auburn family and bring us all together.
And it really is such a simple concept when you think about it. It's just saying hey to someone that you're walking by. But it's
Makes
so cool to see how something so easy and simple and small, and just viewing it can have such a big impact. Like you can change someone's day or week for the better because you have no idea what's going on in their life. And that's the biggest thing. And I think it just shows the human touch of Auburn that makes Auburn so special is the fact that we just get out there and say hey to each other. I mean, it's so simple, but it really is so great, and it defines the Auburn community.
Absolutely. I remember Betsy Glenn, who's someone who used to be in SGA and was in charge of Owen and I when we were both in freshman forum together way back in the day. Way back in the day, she had talked to us once, and I remembered this freshman year, and then it came back to my mind when I was running a campaign, was that you don't know if that's the only person who speaks to that person this week. You don't know if you're the only person who calls them by name this week. You don't know if you're the only person who asks them how their day is going and sticks around to hear the answer this week. And that is like, I mean, it always makes me want to cry, but it really is. That could be the case. You never know. And Heyday, I think, is a cool opportunity to meet those students wherever they may be.
Yeah, it's one of the more unique traditions I've ever heard of, which is really cool. And it is so simple, it's so straightforward, and it is the embodiment of the Southern hospitality. And, you know, I do love the good Creed reference. You just kind of
that was
Gotta
awesome.
love a good Creed reference.
just slip that in. You know, it's always going to be in there. Well, I do want to get to some of the hard questions, if we will. This is going to lock in here. This is really intense. All right.
Okay.
So this is really big stuff here.
Yeah.
I want to know, because it's my favorite thing to do. I ask it to every single person on the podcast. I said to every single person I talk to, that besides just like the hey from Heyday, right? Is how did you get to Auburn? So I would love to know how you managed to get here. What made you come to Auburn?
Yeah, I can go first. I've got a funny story.
Yes, that's what I was hoping
or I guess
for.
it's kind of funny.
I'm
Just different.
expecting to fall out of my chair.
Okay, it's not gonna make you laugh like that. It's just like it's a kind of a coincidence, but not really. So I was born and raised in Mobile, Alabama, and so was my older brother. But my whole extended family is from Foxborough, Massachusetts. So not from the South, not from down here. So didn't really have any ties to Alabama. And my dad was in the military, so he traveled around a lot before I was born with my wife, or with his wife. I don't have a wife. That was crazy.
Breaking news.
Yeah, breaking news.
Breaking news. Owen is
my mom and my dad, they traveled a lot before. That's funny. They traveled a ton, and so my dad really encouraged me to looking to go into the military after high school. So I tried to go to West Point. That was initially where I wanted to go my senior year. Went on 2 tours up there, got my congressional recommendation to do it, applied, and then at the end of my senior year of high school, ended up not getting in academically. And that was a huge closed door for me, and I didn't really know what was next for me.
Sure.
So the next school that I applied to and visited was Auburn. And it was the first time I'd ever been to Auburn, first time I'd stepped on campus here. I knew a few people from high school that went here, but besides that, had no like family connection here. And as soon as I did my student recruiter tour and walked around campus, I knew this is where I wanted to go. And it was the only other school I applied to. And so that was it. That was it for me. That's that's Auburn though. Like you walk around this place and you feel the community and you feel the atmosphere of just like walking on the concourse on I think I came on a Thursday because I came back and played a football game on Friday night. And we were up here on Thursday and just walking around, like you can feel the atmosphere. You can feel how welcoming it is. And that is Auburn. And that I knew right then that's where I wanted to go. Only other school I applied to. Now we're here.
I love that. That's great.
My story is like actually kind of similar to yours. Also different, but similar-ish in that it was a coincidence. I am from Kansas City, Missouri, first-generation Auburn student. My parents both went to Missouri State University and are very involved. But I knew that I did not want to go to Missouri State. Kansas City is also right on line between Missouri and Kansas, and I was raised a KU fan, which means that I was not going to Mizzou. So my parents knew pretty much from the get-go that I was going out of state. It was more of a question of where as opposed to if. So I had been looking at schools in the Northeast area, like Virginia, DC schools, briefly Wisconsin, just I was here and there and everywhere. And November of my senior year came around, and I'm still considering these schools, but out-of-state merit-based scholarships in the DC, Virginia area are few and far between. So my parents were pretty much lovingly sat me down and were like, Riley, you're getting a liberal arts degree. Maybe you shouldn't go into debt for this. And they were correct. So we'd been getting mail from the University of Alabama. So we were like, all right, let's just go see Bama. Why not? I don't know anything about the school. So we went to the University of Alabama during an Alabama-LSU home football game in Tuscaloosa.
That's probably a big game.
I personally had never been to a college football game before.
It's a heck of a that's a heck of a first introduction to the sport.
You can imagine my fear walking through the streets of Tuscaloosa. I'm like, Mom, we need to leave right now. I'm not going to school here. So we're thinking to ourselves, I wonder what else is in the state of Alabama. And my cousin had just gotten married to a girl who had graduated from Auburn. And she was like, y'all have to come see Auburn. You're breaking my heart. So we were like, okay, fine. We get in the car. We drive to Auburn. I set foot on campus. I didn't go on an official tour. It wasn't like we had thought about seeing Auburn, but it wasn't like we have to see Auburn. So I set foot on campus, and similar to Owen, I just walked around. It was a Saturday. I'm sure we had an away game. Town was peaceful. Birds were chirping. Sun was shining.
All the things.
And I also knew immediately. I was pretty much just like, oh, I think I'm supposed to go to college here. And then applied on the way home and committed as soon as I was accepted.
Applied on the way home. Look at that. Wow. I think I applied before I even, I just come as a kid. I was like, I'm always going to go to Auburn. I think I only applied to Auburn, and I was like, or I might have applied to another school. No, I think I maybe two other, but it was always Auburn forever.
I think that's such a cool thing about Auburn too, is that there's the multi-generational Auburn family people that love this place, grew up around this place, grew up coming to football games, and that's so amazing. And then you got people that just don't know anything about Auburn.
Stumble across
it, and then everyone can come together and love this place and be part of the family that it is.
I think I'd have to ask my dad, but I'm pretty sure I'm the 26th person from my family, including cousins and uncles and everybody. I think I'm 26 somewhere. I'm 26, 27, something like that. My sister right here. But it goes all the way back to my grandmother's brother, who they moved from New York to, I think they were living in New York and they moved to Alabama. And when they moved here, someone inevitably asked, are you an Auburn fan or Alabama fan? Yeah. And this guy was pretty obnoxious. Yeah. And he said, well, he's an Alabama fan. Well, if you're an Alabama fan, then I'm an Auburn fan. And that's how he became an Auburn fan. And then he ended up going to Auburn. He was the first of that 26 or 27 or however many came to Auburn. Trickled down. That's I think crazy. Now it's in the 30s with some of my other cousins and stuff. He has a lot of us.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
It's just been in my blood, Oh, yeah. That's how it is. But as we're closing up on time here, I did want to ask, as we kind of are looking at what the future holds for the next people to come through SGA, what's some great examples or some chances that students who are coming in, some underclassmen, get involved with SGA, start to kind of get their foot in like you guys did as you started? And what are some great opportunities they have for that?
Definitely. I think one of the coolest things that we do, it's a year-round program for students to just get plugged in at their time whenever they want to. It's called the EXP branch of SGA. And that looks like just one-time signups for volunteering for events and participating in them. And that goes from volunteering for things like Hay Day coming up soon, or Creed Day that's going to be going on in the spring, or Shaker distribution for football games on Fridays. Just one-time events like that. You can join a group me and get plugged in on our website and find ways to get plugged into those things. And then that's a great way to just meet people and then understand what's going on within SGA. And in the spring, there'll be a huge application window for people in Cabinet that want to get plugged in, want to be serving in a full-time year-round role within SGA, which I think is an amazing thing.
Yeah, wonderful. Absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, thank you guys for coming, Riley and Owen. I appreciate you spending some time with us here at the podcast. And looking forward to seeing what you guys do the next few months while you start in your positions and making Auburn a better place every single day.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Of course. I appreciate it. And thank you for listening as well. We'll be back again next month with more members of the Auburn family. Maybe Dalton will be back from his special assignment. Who knows? We'll see if we can find that guy around this place. But until then, War Eagle.
War Eagle.